Guys, welcome to the Meta Show. It is Saturday, 2000 Eve time, or GMT, whatever time you go on. And we do have the Mittani back with his red shirt.
Yay!
So welcome back,
red
Mittens.
shirts. Absolutely.
Yay.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah.
As it were.
I wore a red shirt last week in commemoration for you, and then I told him if we didn't have you back on this week, I was going to shave my beard and get the little ball absorption tickler that you wear in your chin.
The cushioner, yeah.
The cushioner. The shock absorber right there.
Shock absorber. Well, you see, the thing is the dangerous thing with the goatee is that I get trolled about it so much, and I can't really grow a real beard like yours, that I honestly can't tell whether I'm just getting trolled about it or whether I should actually shave it off. And we keep joking about, like, you know, if we get like 100 subscribers or something, I'll shave it off on live TV. But I don't know. I wonder
you have the
what I
goatee,
look like.
I believe.
Like, I wonder what I'd look like without it. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
Like me, you look like me without a beard, where you would attract all of the 45-year-old women looking for a little boy toy. That's what you would be. Just like without
a magnet. Is that what
exactly?
You're saying?
That's what happens when I shave off my beard. You get carded for everything, and
well, I still get carded for everything. I mean, that's the main reason why I have it, is that, like, I can't grow a real beard, so I have to have the goatee at least, because then I look like I'm in my early 20s instead of looking like I'm 12. So, you know, it's kind of.
No. All right, guys. So with that being said, all today's subscribers, money, all the people who subscribe today will be going for beard plugs for the Mittani. So we're gonna send them. Yeah. So like hair plugs. We're gonna get them some beard plugs, guys. And we thank you for your commitment.
For the donations, maybe some testosterone injections, such that I might eventually be a real boy. Oh, God, I don't even know. Wow. Okay.
That's funny.
So that's the plan, guys. You guys are all informed.
Okay.
And, so moving on.
So are we actually going to talk about
yes,
Eve Online? Let's not talk about Eve first. We've got some.
Let's talk about some of the stuff you're doing, actually.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Update us, Mittani. What are you doing? Update us.
Okay. Well, I've been very busy. Oddly enough, not been busy with our guys torching Delve, which we'll get to later in the show, because that's just kind of like, you know, I mean, hubris. Maybe we'll get, you know, maybe we'll lose all of our supers or something like that. But the Delve thing is just kind of, you know, it's Delve like 17 or something. The big thing that I'm really excited about is that we are having on this upcoming Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month, in Madison, Wisconsin, at the Comeback Inn, which is a little place right by the Essen House. We are having our first Madison monthly meetup for spaceship nerds of all shapes and sizes, and coalitions or not coalitions. Everyone is welcome to show up. If you're within driving distance from Milwaukee or from Chicago, you're welcome to come on up. 7 p.m. at the Comeback Inn. There is an EVE Online meetups and groups thread. There's a goonfleet.com thread. There is an evemeet.com entry, assuming that they have actually gotten off of their asses and approved it. But the salient details are 7 p.m., come back in, and you know, we're going to be doing it the first Tuesday of every month. We just kind of get a chance to meet people and, you know, see who's out there. So I'm pretty excited about that. The hostess who is there is a friend of mine, and we'll just say, you know, hi, I'm here for the Eve Nerds, and she'll probably recognize you because she's a gamer too, and just be like, go over there with those people. Please bathe.
I don't think.
Please bathe.
I don't think you'll need to be pointed out to the table of the Eve Nerds.
Yeah.
Like to be honest.
At the very least, I'll have my finest of red shirts and my worst goatee. So it should be
and I'm looking right now, and it looks like it has been added. It is now. It
is actually up on EveMeet. That's good.
And I will actually link that into chat for everyone. Yeah. And oh wow, looks like we're already up 2 subscribers. Two subscribers. The first one, I missed the name, but the second one was Kane Felmont. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for this new subs. And if you look at the top of the stream, we actually have a sub counter now. So the higher we get the sub count, the more pleased I will be. So
I'm actually kind of afraid. Okay? I'm afraid to do this because if the subs, like if you actually have an episode of Sub Hype or something, and I'm foolish enough to be there, and we do hit, like, I'll have to like go get my razor. That'll be scary. That'll be like it'll be like getting tar and feathered on live TV, right? Like, here's the moment where, like, I am now forced to shave my goatee in front of everybody. Thankfully, I don't think that's going to happen this time.
It'd make a really awesome highlight. That's all I got.
That'll be a good, like, montage video clip, I guess, for us.
So all you sub guys out there, what we've been kind of trying to do every time we get a new sub, we give them some little sub emote love. Well, there's only one sub emote right now, but we are adding more. We do. If you guys are in the CFC and you've seen some of Destination's work, you'll know that he does some pretty cool stuff, typically making fun of myself.
Fantastic.
But we are working on new sub emotes for all of you. And
sorry it's taking so long.
yes.
Well, art doesn't make itself.
It's true. It's true. So let's
right.
move on to more things. There's something that I don't know if you want to talk about it. There's the Vegas thing in April. No, you don't want to talk about that? We can talk about the website instead.
That's going to be interesting. The Vegas thing is, we'll probably have a little bit more on the website about it. But basically, the applications for that are closed off now. But we're getting a few people from the TMC community who really like Vegas, and it seems like there's a social divide now. Like a lot of people like FanFest, but Eve Vegas, Vegas kind of gets into your blood, right? And so we're taking a little expedition of about 20 to 30 of our guys, not just in the CFC, just like friends, all EVE players, to the Mandalay Bay, where we have a lot of special and interesting hookups, and we'll probably be publicizing what we do there once everybody gets bailed out of jail.
Once everyone's bailed out of jail, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those sin
is
lawyers.
A good thing.
It's one of those sin lawyers, guns and money sort of situations. I think if you're
I'm really glad that I can't afford to go now.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the Vegas thing. We will eventually get to talking about EVE Online, but like somebody says in chat, first it's the fun stuff: partying, hanging out with your friends who happen to play EVE. I guess we should. What do we want to touch on next? Do we want to?
Well, I mean, I think they said you are just not back on the show, and last Sunday you had your community roundtable, and let's say there is not a small amount of people who are upset with the launch of the new website, and maybe we can just little bit. I mean, maybe one or two people didn't really like it.
One or two Jimmys.
I think two people were unhappy with the website, and we ignored them because they just hate change.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, basically the website stuff. We had a community roundtable about this, and so web dev is hell. We are going through a period of wrenching change on the site because basically we're professionalizing various aspects of it: the video organization, the video team, the development team, and the thing is that as TMC shifts from being a hobby site into something else, we have a lot of legacy org problems that are getting sorted out. So the good news is the site that was launched on Saturday at FanFest, which was kind of a disaster area, is less of a disaster area. The bad news, in fact, we have a new nav bar that went in today. If you guys haven't had a chance to check the site, take a look and Control F5 that sucker. We do not yet have, because the developers are still running around with their hair on fire doing things. I had hoped that we would have the theme selector in, but I do have some good news there. In that for those of you who really liked the old version of the website, Prague has designed a modern version of it that essentially mirrors what the old site looks like in terms of style, which means that when the theme selector happens, instead of saying, I don't like this version of TMC and I'm forced to be stuck with it, you can essentially go, here are 10 or more different options of what TMC looks like, and then you just pick it and then it stays that way. We can't make everybody happy, but I think we can make a lot of people happier that way. So that's the site update.
I actually went and saw Fast and Furious 7 today, and as I was sitting there in my movie theater in the chair, watching the movie, my phone was just getting completely blown up with Slack updates, and it was Kaz in here going, "All right, guys, going to implement this new thing," and I'm sitting there going, "Really? Right before the meta show? You're going to make me deal with this before the meta show? So if everything blows up, it's going to be nothing but what did you do this time?
You're blowing everything up.
Complaints.
No.
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. So yeah, anyone in general, guys, like we said on the community roundtable, complaints, comments, UI UX suggestions, email staff@themittani.com, and I'm gonna type it into chat again, staff@themittani.com. And actually, one of the things that has been really helpful about this is after the community roundtable, we basically said, dude, if you're a fucking amazing UI UX designer, if you're really good at Drupal, if you can sling CSS or PHP or do all these other wonderful developer things that little old lawyer me couldn't do possibly if my life depended on it, send us an email with what you can do and if you're willing to help out, and the dev team will spin you up. We have no pride at all when it comes to who helps us. We don't care about the ticker. And if you have the skills and you're smart, we will loop you in, and see what happens. So yeah, that's basically the dev update. New nav bar. For a while, the pagination on the front page was broken, which was driving me crazy, and the staff hated me because I was basically screaming about it in dev because I'm like, I can't go back more than a week on my own goddamn website. What is this? So that got fixed too, which is nice.
Yes, I'm very happy about it.
We're basically just kind of, muddling through. Things are.
And I've signed staff at the Mittani.com up for so many free porn websites by now.
Oh God.
Excellent.
No, it's
the epitome of professionalism. I love it.
Well, and actually, I was just reading chat, and it's a good point made by Goldsnake. The Meta Show background is actually the old site, so everyone's probably all like nostalgic and wishing.
Wow, that's
whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops. We'll get that fixed for next week.
We will get that fixed. But speaking of professionalism, and actually I want to give Laz a shout out here. If you guys do take a look at the site, the video team, which is now running around and doing an awful lot more interesting things and doing just a really great job of turning things around. The video team has taken a lot of the interviews that Laz did at FanFest with a lot of CCP developers that the regular games media is too dumb to interview. Basically, I mean, is it okay if I just turn around and start crapping on games media right now? Is that okay?
No, I think it is the Meta Show. Wait, I think we need like a graphic for just the Mittani for the spin zone.
Okay,
like,
a mitten spin.
Yeah, mitten spin is
what we should do is get like a screen cap of my head, like during the like Xeneria back and forth, and just have it like spinning around.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
I'll try not to break my neck doing that. But the thing that's interesting about FanFest and the coverage and this is entirely to Laz's credit, he was the guy who had this idea.
It was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, and so one of the things that has annoyed me about coverage at FanFest is that the games media doesn't play Eve, with the exception of like now Bertie Perchese from Perchese, however the fuck you say his name, from Eurogamer, who did a pretty good column about learning Eve, but he wasn't at FanFest. These guys, they don't really interview any of the devs who really get their hands dirty and impact stuff that the players actually deal with. So if you look at the interviews that are on TMC today that Laz has been doing, he went through and he found some of the devs that actually really impact the game in a way that we are interested in, like Delegate Zero. But the regular media never talks to them because they have their heads completely up their ass. There you go. So big shout out to Laz, and these interviews are really nice to see.
And
I appreciate it. And
a few more coming up the pipe as well, right, Laz?
Yes, there are a few more. We do have CCP Carker coming up. I'm looking at the website now, and CCP Rise still has not been posted, and CCP Seagull, which is the EP for EVE Online.
We got Fozzie up today too, which is kind of a big deal. So the
Fozzie was the first interview on that day that I did, and I forgot to click the record button on my manual audio recorder. So like towards like 5 minutes left on the interview, like I noticed it, and so you'll probably notice like a little skip in the video where we had to piece it together. But no, the one I'm looking forward to most is CCP Seagull's interview, because this was done like midday on Saturday FanFest, and I had this giant like cowlick from wearing a beanie and being outside in the wind, and no one told me about it. Like I literally been talking to me all day, and I had just like this giant puff of hair sticking up on the side, and all the rest of the interviews I'm not on the camera for. What was Sequel I was on the camera for, so you just sit there and see me with my giant cowlick the entire time. But it's actually a really good interview. It's mainly focused on the development process for EVE Online, which a lot of people always wonder what happens with it and what Seagull's changed now that she's taken over. And that's basically 15 minutes of just that. So I hope you guys enjoy that.
That's going to be really interesting stuff. The other thing, Laz, I think the reason why nobody mentioned you having a cowlick is they probably just thought it was like the backside of your beard or something. It was just the beard was just kind of like, oh, well,
it's all connected. It's all part of the beard.
It grows organically. I mean, let's be real.
Want to thank CoolMonkey99 for subscribing. Thanks for the support.
4 Hypnokittens obeyed. All right, that's far from 150, which means I don't have to get my razor.
Yay!
If we get 150 subs, I will shave my own beard. I mean, that's.
Oh God! Don't
nobody would want. No.
No one wants that. No one wants that.
Yeah, they like your beard. They don't like mine. That's an important thing. Speaking of things that people like and Laz's beard, that sounds like a very subtle segue into discussing the new newbie show that Laz is doing, because it has something to do with with
Both
Laz's
those
beard.
things?
Why don't you
Yeah.
tell the story of Laz's beard and the
Laz's beard. So far, we actually created the new character, and the premise of the starting premise of the newbie show was about actually creating a new character and doing the new player experiences that they put into the game. And I created the character and we did it, and we played for like 2 hours. Like, all right, so when of the new opportunity system it get initialized, and apparently you do not get put into the opportunity system unless you create a new account. So we spent 2 hours waiting on this, but we still covered a lot of good stuff. It was myself and Pork Butt on the first stream, and I think we had around 200 people come and watch the show. And there's a lot of people asking questions, and one of the big things that I harped on the entire time is we want as many people in chat to be talking and asking questions in chat, because a lot of these new players are going to be shy and not want to look dumb. But if everyone's asking dumb questions, then
nobody has to feel dumb, right? Nobody gets singled out. That's a really good idea.
Well, that's the whole premise behind the show. Is basically I want as many people as possible interacting in chat, and I think we were doing pretty well about it. And I do know there's people from that chat in stream today, and they've stuck around and they asked their own questions, and it's really cool. It's one of the funnest things I've done so far streaming, is being able to interact with the new players.
I think in terms of the show, it's in stark contrast to real fleets, where when you're on a real fleet and you don't know what you're doing and you ask a stupid question, you get like shit on for it. This is a don't get shit on zone. This is for new players to please ask your silly showbun cute new questions, because there's things that we all ask that were dumb questions that we need to know about Eve in order to understand how it works.
Yeah,
Marconius has really done a great job in general. Like, just to interject here, like Marconius, and I need to give Karma Fleet a shout out because they actually just a few moments ago had a major milestone with Karma Fleet. Marconius Porkbutt was probably one of the most talented mentors directors I've ever seen. Like, the guy just has a gift for newbies. He does great videos too. He's extremely talented. And Karma Fleet was basically started as just a Hail Mary, we don't really know whether it's going to work, fuck it, why not, project between Scion and me talking to Marconius, like, hey, you can come over, you do really good with newbies, why don't you just start your own corp and we'll see what happens. And we kind of expected it to be a disaster area, because almost every other Reddit-based organization in EVE thus far has been just a flaming disaster. Test is actually doing better. I have to give a shout out to Test under Sapporo Jones. They're actually having a lot of fun in Wicked Creek, and we should probably talk about that when we get to the EVE section, if somebody can remember that.
We're actually going to be rolling into that after we finish the shout outs.
Yes.
Awesome. So Marconius and Karma Fleet actually just hit a major milestone just while the show happened here, and they tweeted it. I should probably retweet it here. Karma Fleet has just hit 1,000 members, which is pretty crazy when you think about it.
999 of them are spies as well.
Every single one of them
course.
is a spy, except for Marconius, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Things are definitely interesting, and Marconius and Laz are tag teaming on the new newbie show, which is why that was the appropriate time for a shout out for Karma Fleet.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Like I said, Marconius was on the show, and he deals with all of our newbies, so he deserves the props. He actually made our new newbie video as well, which I'll play towards in the end of the meta show. That way people can see it, and just that way he can get some of the praise for the stuff he's doing.
Excellent.
But, yeah. So segueing into the
yes, nullsec,
and I don't actually have the segue graphic loaded, but we'll just roll with it anyways.
We'll just say that it's a subtle segue.
So we spoke about tests, so let's start with tests.
Okay, so this ties into the Brave thing, so we'll just start with that. So Brave has had some trouble, and I don't really want to point any fingers about that, because anything that I say regarding this is going to be taken as, oh my god, spin, because we're trying to meta them in reasons. Hopefully people like I don't care about catch. It's just kind of like, it was interesting because when I was at FanFest, I was having some conversations with people, and there did seem to be a perception that, like, because we talk about Brave on the meta show, that like there's this big amazing conspiracy to give a shit. It is interesting to watch, but this actually had nothing to do with us or meta. So Brave has had some trouble with leadership issues. They just deployed from catch into Delve territory and socked, and it was a disaster. But before that happened, before this State of the Coalition speech that Licton gave, Test went their own way. There's some sort of a red pill joke to be made here, going their own way.
So the test thing started during FanFest, actually.
Yeah,
is when
basically
pulled out.
they left. Actually, Securitas Protector, I believe, joined Test, or otherwise just, I don't know what he's doing with Spaceship Samurai, but I think that Sec is with Test. He was paying me about that. And they went off to Wicked Creek to just sort of do their own thing. And it first got off to a rocky start because somebody briefly hired Black Legion to try to capture their staging station before it was with Test Sov. And there was a quick back and forth, but Test got situated in Wicked Creek. And just from watching Sapporo Jones, it is Sapporo who's running Test these days, right?
He's yeah, I believe so.
Well, at the very least, he's their J5 rep. And
he's also a wonderful person.
Because they also have Magui in there, which I see a lot of publicity about Magui. So. Yeah,
but Sapporo has been, whoever they are, whoever is now in charge of Test, and I think it's Sapporo and Magui, are doing a really good job in terms of revitalizing that organization. They've found some content in Wicked Creek. They're doing really well. It seems like they've had a breath of fresh air, and this is an interesting thing because I don't think that anybody would have ever expected me to hop on the Meta Show and say great things of the new leadership of Test. But
yeah, but it's happening. Happening status, it's...
hello, Urandus. That's he's saying in chat. Acknowledge me. Physically say hello, Urandus. Hello, Urandus.
Well, I'm actually logged into. I'm logged into the Mittani.com account, so you keep posting things like as yourself, and then I go back and say I'm actually Laz, and Urandus is.
It's very confusing.
So confusing.
No, but so one might say that Test is pretty good at rebuilding itself at this point. I guess
they've had a lot of practice.
I was going to say they've had some practice.
The spin zone for that one.
Yeah, that's definitely. That's spin zone. That was a bit of a shot there. Sorry, Test. I still love you. I promise.
So that's good, but that's like we can't really talk about like Test leaving the Hero Coalition and what have you and going someplace else without really touching on like what the hell has happened with Brave.
I don't know. I just don't. Well, it looks like it's on fire. That's just from my from an outside perspective. It just seems like it's on fire.
Yeah, well,
it didn't have to be this way.
We did offer them Delve for free.
But that was a conspiracy to meta them, which is why, because we were going to put a million strings on Delve and completely ruin them and meta them, that's why we're now giving Delve to like Pizza and who the hell are we else? Who are we giving
Pizza?
Eon, yeah. I don't even know who these guys are, but like they came over
you don't know
and
who
like.
Pizza is?
No, I know who Pizza is.
I was going to say. Okay.
No, When I'm in Space is actually When I'm in Space is a really savvy guy, and like we've been talking to him for a while back and forth, but I never really thought that. He would ever come over to our side of Block Wars, but they really like Delve and they're doing great work.
And the uniform thing for them was amazing.
Oh my god,
the uniform thing was hilarious.
Do you
have the tweet for that that you can put into the Twitch chat?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can actually find. I have there's one of my tweets that I included all this. Pizza is like taking a like Mittani tells us to do whatever gimmick and running with it. I'm not actually telling them anything to do. Like we hired them and they're doing great work, but they just seem to have taken the we obey Lord Mittani gimmick and run with it, and now they have these freaking uniforms that they've told everybody very seriously that they have to do or else. And it's interesting because so you have to change your character portrait in a certain way, and if you don't obey the rules for that, they actually like demoted somebody from wearing a black jacket. Seriously, I'm not making this up. Apparently somebody like screwed something up and they demoted them from wearing a black jacket into being a red jacket person.
God, that's amazing.
And the funny thing about it is like I thought it was just a hilarious gimmick. I mean, that's what Pizza does. But if you actually load one of the kill mails, so I'm gonna link one of the kill mails here in chat, is it actually looks really good.
Yeah.
Like when you have everybody who's on a kill mail on Z Killboard all the side and they're all in a uniform and on all similar style, it actually looks pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, the whole kill with everyone looking the same, but they're slightly different from the lighting and stuff like that. But it still looks pretty fantastic.
The lighting is a little bit different, but you can basically see like their faces are all different, but like they're all very much wearing like a fucking uniform, and it actually looks really badass, which surprised me because I normally kill mail portraits are a shit show. So yeah. Pizza.
Is this something we're going to see across the CFC? We're going to see like a carrier with 200 ships on it, all in uniform.
That would be interesting for us to steal a gimmick from Pizza. I'll think about it. I don't know. Like I don't want to.
Hey,
I don't know. I mean, hey, like if people are interested in like a Goonswarm uniform or something like that, we can start.
It is
doing
being brought
that.
up in chat. People are talking about a GSF
Yeah.
uniform.
Lord,
I don't want to.
Shall we work on our lighting?
If they unify the lighting
It has to be a
better
red shirt.
reflect upon the professionalism of the pizza organization, which is hilarious because nobody would have expected pizza to be like a professional mercenary group with this level of discipline, but they're fucking kicking ass. But yeah, we were gonna be talking about Brave and how this related. So we almost like a while back we told, and I said it on the show, like we don't want Delve. Pizza doesn't want Delve. I think Otherworld Empire, whoever the hell they are, is taking the Sov, but we're just giving the moons, like the R64s, to Pizza and these other guys because we don't give a shit. So I mean, Brave could have had that, but they don't. So the reason, I guess, why Test ended up like leaving Brave and all this stuff happened is that like, so they're in cash, they're getting farmed by PL. Some stuff happens at FanFest that like, what's that?
I said lots of fun getting
farmed. And everybody likes being farmed. And it's good content. So some stuff happened at FanFest. There's this drama about like stuff that happened at the PL dinner. We're not going to get into that too much. But people can find out about it if they want to. And then something really weird happened. Like PL starts grinding on cash a little bit harder because of that, but nothing much is going on. And then what like precipitated all this weirdness, and that's the only way I can describe it as weirdness, is that because it's not like, oh wow, that's crazy cool or that's really unpredictable and whatever. It's just like I got nothing. They deployed to Sact, which is right outside of Delve.
Yeah, that happened the day I get back from FanFest.
Yeah.
Like, I literally got back from FanFest and I had to we led not because like Brave was coming and throwing in with N3, and then it ends up turning around to where they're not with N3, and they're moving to Sact and getting farmed some more.
And then the moment that they move into Sact, Black Legion, who is working with N3, war decks them and starts farming them. And now we're going to have to talk about the deployment to Sact a little bit later because there's actually like a flow chart about it now.
Right.
We'll get to that in a moment. In case, this is one of those, but wait, there's more situations. So they deploy to Sact to be mercenaries, and they do it before they have a contract with somebody. We make an inquiry with them because we're like, okay, you're here to be mercs. What's your rates? The rates that they give us are far more ridiculous than our last actual mercenary contract, which was when we hired Black Legion.
Right.
And presumably they offered, because I mean, there was a rumor, and I never actually confirmed this, but at FanFest it was going around that I was going to be approached and asked to give Brave a 400 billion ISK loan because we just have that kind of money lying around.
Oh, of course.
Now,
not that we don't have that much money lying around.
Yeah, but it's a massive chunk of our wallet. Like, we do have more than 400 billion liquid ISK, but not much more. And we certainly, but like, there was apparently a perception in people's ideas that an organization like Goonswarm, where like we basically give as much money as we can back to our members in terms of like ship replacement, blah, 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 blah. That's how the state works. But apparently they just think that like they buy into the like crazy blogger bullshit that these nullsec alliances are just sitting on trillions of ISK when they're not. But if we say, no, really, we're not sitting on trillions of ISK, that's just a sign that we're embezzling in their mind. So there's all this fucking Kool-Aid shit happening.
Of course.
Well, this is a meta show, so...
exactly. So maybe I'm just lying and we actually have 3 trillion ISK sitting in my wallet.
Of course.
But like, I don't know. So they move to Sact, however the hell you say it, without a mercenary contract signed up, and are like, we're open for business. They give out these rates, and I guess nobody hires them. Maybe somebody's going to hire them now because I saw them using an Ishtar fleet. But the move itself is a disaster because there's no prepping or announcement for the deployment. They get there, they get war decked. Everything goes off the rails. The members are screaming. And then here's the thing. They're getting attacked and catched. They're on a defensive Sov war and have been for a while. And then they just up and left. And we're surprised then when their main staging systems in catch in head and then head got hit afterwards, but there's nobody around, so they lost their fucking stagers. So anybody who hadn't logged into EVE Online that week and wasn't keeping up with stuff lost all their shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and PL was, I believe, nice enough to actually allow them to move some stuff out once they got it to head. but then I mean, they've still lost the stations, and anything that did not get moved or was too big to get out is just stuck.
Yeah, and I feel bad for a lot of those people, especially like for an alliance like Brave Newbies, where you do have a lot of newbies who are like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I have no ISK, and you've just locked all my assets in a station that I can't get into. What the fuck do I do?
Well, and
you were on vacation. Like, what? It was spring break. It was spring break. What happens if you were away on spring break and you come back and you'd started playing Eve and all your shit is locked in stations because your leadership doesn't know how to do a fucking deployment? Right.
Yeah, they moved bits and pieces, and they had like actual industrial convoys to move out. Like most alliances, you'll see jump freighters and carriers and all that jumping their stuff out. But these were like they had like Badger convoys with all their stuff in them being guarded by MOAs, which is like pretty like it was just like Shogun Newbie, but that
is so adorable.
But it's
well, Providence apparently Provi CVA got together to help break the head GP blockade, and I guess I'm hearing now in chat that people are free porting head GP such that those newbies don't get screwed, which is good.
Good, that's awesome.
I mean,
that's good to hear.
The hard fact is, and with all of this Brave business, is like the people in their line are getting screwed over because of errors in leadership, basically. And those errors in leadership are like the whole weird new doesn't work as an excuse anymore, because the people who've been in charge of Brave have been in charge of Brave for a couple of years now. You can't really do the I don't know how to do a deployment thing, because you can just ask somebody in nullsec who's done it before, do your fucking research. So, all these problems, it's great that PL is opening and freeporting this station, because the people who are the actual newbies, who are the line members, are not responsible for the mistakes of the leadership. And this is why it's just a mess. So I'm glad that PL is doing that. That's pretty chill of them to do it. What a mess.
And like I said, they did move over towards SOCT, and they actually moved, I think, 3 or 4 jumps away from SOCT now.
They did another move?
Yeah, they've moved out of SOCT again, and I believe the system they moved doesn't actually have medical in it. So they can't change your clones. Like, it doesn't matter anymore for updated clones, but you can't really change your. Well, no, you can set your clones still. You can set your home station to whatever system you're at. But I mean, like installing jump clones and stuff like that is going to be an issue.
You don't move staging systems more than once every couple months tops, unless you have a nomadic alliance, because this is fucking 101 shit. You don't do.
Well, it's
I'm
why
going to go look at their subreddit right now. Like this is.
Well, the CFC, at the start of Phoebe, we had just moved, I think, like 3 times in the period of a month, and literally we had people spread out through all these systems, and then the market and every single system was complete shit. And the people who did the industrial work,
shock. You can't do that,
right? And you're not gonna have the ships you need on market. You're not gonna have ammo. You're not gonna have spare modules. I mean, if you move this often, you're gonna lose members because they're just
they're in Defsonen. They did a deployment move 3.
It's. I mean,
are we even playing the same game? God damn!
Even though they're in Tingus and Ishtars and
right
some.
Here.
Well,
no, I mean, I guess you could say it's Spin Zone if you want to. I mean, this is me. Like, I didn't know this because I haven't been paying attention. But this is just. I feel guilty for the. I feel sad for the fucking line guys, because I mean, we don't do a deployment. Like, one of the reasons. So in the Fountain War, when I fucked up the Fountain War by launching that invasion just before I went over to E3 2013 when we invaded Fountain, part of the reason why things were so screwed is because deployment takes time, and you have to seed a market, because you can say everybody go to a place, but there's doctrines that have to get stocked beforehand. You can't just import, particularly for a big coalition like the CFC, but Brave is also really big. Like, they've got a lot of dudes. You have to stock the market. You have to get contracts up. You have to do jump freighter convoys if you need to do that. If you don't have a functional JF org, you have to seed the fucking market, prep it, scout it, do all these things to make sure that your line members don't get jerked around like this. This is why you do your fucking homework and prepare. And now these guys... somebody's saying in chat that they've done like 3 moves. They stopped staging within 20 minutes. They went into one. Oh, I heard about this. They went into one station in SOCT, and then 20 minutes later, they moved over to a different station in SOCT, and they have 2 staging systems too. Jay Amazingness is saying they got one in low second Defson and one high second Zinc. All right, I give up. Whatever.
It's moving on. It's
yes.
If you want to know more, go to the Brave Newbies subreddit and read.
Try to sort out the mess.
Yeah,
like
I got 2 more things here. We have a question from one of our subscribers, Astron Autistic, has asked us, can we talk about the Phoebe/Delve Phoebe/Brave Delve offer, was that actually a thing? Yeah, and we knew it was a thing because since they have a council system, the moment that one of our diplomats contacted them and made the offer, it leaked out all over the internet because council systems suck. So, meanwhile,
I'm going to play the spin zone thing just for that, even though it's like councils always fail.
True.
I mean, it's spin, but it's not spin because it's true.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if they want to think that council systems are great after all this bullshit, and they want to think that's spin, then by all means, we're spinning, whatever. So the Delve offer was legit. We noticed that what had happened was, after Phoebe, there was a lot of changes happening, and we were planning on giving up Delve, Quirius, and Period Basis, which we did because we knew we wouldn't be able to defend them. And we were like, well, we don't want to have in 3 get it, which is what happened. Hey, Brave, you're living in shitty space, and you're newbie-based organizations. Why don't you just have Delve? And just kind of like you can see, there are facts on the ground which are indisputable. You can argue about spin here and spin there, but a tower on an R64 on a fucking Dispro moon in Delve with a pizza ticker on it that the CFC just said, here, pizza, have a fucking Dispro moon because we don't want it. If you want to say that's spin, then that's great. The sky is green. That's spin.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was no strings attached to it. We're like, we would go make sure, like, we would divest Delve and give it to you. And the excuses that we got was that there was some crazy... basically, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. They believed that there was some sort of crazy meta angle to it, that I was playing 13th dimensional chess rather than like the facts on the ground where the Sov is undefensible. We're going to be divesting it. I would rather have Brave there than have in 3 there. So they missed that opportunity.
Well, and then now they're in their current situation.
And now, ta-da!
But I mean, segueing off his question in regards to Phoebe, we actually missed it last week because it happened, I think, the day of the meta show. Black Legion self-destructing their Dread fleet because it would have been too hard to move it. So
Yep.
We do have a segue there. So
that was actually a really interesting thing. I mean, with Phoebe, like we move our capital fleet around, and that was kind of a weird strategic situation there because Black Legion used to be able to threaten the CFC by using jump clones back and forth. I had sort of assumed that they would have kept their Dread fleet in Venal, but they just self-destructed it, took a little bit of a wallet hit even with the insurance just to avoid the process. And so there was this weird situation the other day when we were talking about Delve war plans, and I was talking to our Sky Marshal, and we were like, everybody's really committing down there because there's no content going on. Like this war is turning into something that could be interesting or dangerous, and we have to take this seriously now. And I'm like, yeah, we really got to be careful because Black Legion's just going to jump clone back up to Venal and like blow all of our shit up. And then
that's not the case because they don't have dreads anymore up there to siege our moons.
Yeah, and I mean, well, they could still go back up there and like shoot stuff, but it was just a really weird moment to see somebody do that. I mean, I'm not really sure that was. I mean, I'm happy that they made the play that they did.
The way that they approached it was, all of our members have these dreads, and we can't fly the dreads and escort them at the same time. And with Phoebe mechanics, you can't do a sign chain where you jump dock all the way down unless you want to spend hours doing it because of jump fatigue.
Didn't they do that last time though?
So, well, we mean with the head GP fight?
Yeah, didn't they?
Well, that was with supers. It's different. You can't really self-destruct a bunch of supers and replace them. But what you do. What they did was all these dreads were insured and they self-destructed them, and they got the insurance payout for it, which is enough to cover I think everything but maybe 300 or 400 mil loss. So they just ate that loss for each dread, and then they bought a whole new dread fleet and moved it into to low sec there next to Fountain.
And that's actually a reasonable point, and like I don't want to. So I'm going to back off from the spin zone territory because this is actually. So I mean for a small elite alliance that likes to hit targets and things like that, under Phoebe you have to move your caps with an escort. And since Venal is in the middle of CFC territory, and they're obviously completely uninfiltrated by any spies at all, we have no spies at all in Black Legion. Realistically speaking, it's going to be hard for them to actually escort a whole bunch of dreadnoughts without very much subcap support through the heart of CFC territory without us like intercepting them and killing them all. So they kind of like, if it's in that situation, they actually kind of did the smart play because they can't convoy 65 dreadnoughts with maybe 100 subcaps and support and not just get obliterated.
Well, and you also got to look at it as once they hit low sec, is the capitals are completely separate from super capitals, where they can't be regular pointed. So these dreadnoughts are going to be getting pointed by interceptors and cruisers, and literally anything with a warp disruptor is going to put a point on these capitals, and they're going to have to constantly go back and save them, and it would be just a huge clusterfuck without support there to clear tackle. So and ISK, there's a lot of ISK in this game right now. So taking a few hundred mil loss per dread is not that big of a deal. Right. It's basically like losing a subcap.
Yeah. It's actually, I think, a completely reasonable strategy considering the sort of the geography that they were faced with. So, I mean, people are still adjusting to the post-Phoebe world. Like, we're probably going to see more situations like that in the future as people realize that's a viable strategic tactic and it could be necessary.
Well, and also a shout out to Urandus, since he keeps pinging me about it,
asking
and then the not as important Indie Post CSM 10 member for the Goons Forum.
Yay, Indy. Yeah. We made everybody on the Meta Show for many weeks use Indy's name as a call sign for giveaways, so it's good to have him on board. So yeah, I mean, we should probably discuss. Do we want to talk about the Delve thing next? We've kind of already hinted about what's happening with Delve. There's really not much.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much there.
I do have a question for Mittani, though.
Oh, boy.
So, okay. Mittani, you remember on our very first episode of the Meta Show, people in chat came into chat and spammed at us that -93 was coming to get us.
Oh.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do.
So
it was
now,
an entire NC fleet that was trolling the Meta Show about how -93 was going to destroy the CFC.
So what I want to ask you now is, what's -93 up to these days?
Well, you are cruel, Nystrik. I like it. She's got that nice grin, but the reality is she's. So -93 joined the CFC. He's in CO2 now, and I guess he's coming to kill us from the inside. So, That's see, the funny thing is that Nystrik, I had actually completely forgotten about that incident.
Did you forget? I didn't.
I totally forgot about it. So I saw I come back from FanFest. I'm like, -93 is in the CFC. Okay, that's interesting. Whatever. Not a huge surprise that we attract talent. Whatever. Spin zone. But I had forgotten that there was all this NC trolling during the previous attack on Fountain, right around Phoebe. That -93 was going to take Fountain then and destroy everything in the CFC. And I guess he just decided to skip out on this Fountain invasion because that worked about as well, I guess even worse than the last one. So that's our segue, I guess, into talking about into Delve and Fountain.
Well, and
before we get into it, though, no lunch face punch.
No lunch face punch. That's a.
I love the name, so thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the support.
So, Fountain.
Again.
Yeah,
it's not Fountain, it's Delve now. It started out as Fountain. So, this is going to be just me telling a story and running my mouth, I guess, which is kind of what I do. But, the Fountain thing is dumb. I mean, there's a lot of things that are dumb. The Brave socked thing is dumb. Actually, I need to make a note here about the flowcharts. We haven't shown off the flowcharts yet, but we'll show off the flowcharts.
We will get to that. We're trying to hold the show to about an hour, so we have about 15 minutes left. If we go a little bit over, it's okay, but we are trying to hold an hour, so we're gonna try to move things along.
Yes. All right, stop running your mouth. All
ready,
right,
set, go.
Okay, so N3 keeps hitting Fountain. They kept doing it. They did it at FanFest because they thought that all of our FCs were going to be gone. It would be a good time to attack Fountain, not realizing that we actually sent very few people to FanFest this year because most of our guys are now Vegas people. They'd rather go to Vegas and party.
Vegas is amazing.
Vegas owns. Yes. And I'm going to be there in 3 weeks. It's going to be awesome. So every single time in the past that they've stormed the castle walls, we really don't want to take Delve because Delve is landing with taking Delve over and over and over and over again. Literally just invade Delve in our sleep. But at this point, we got everybody together to defend against the Fountain invasion and FanFest, and it was such a disaster. It was such a clusterfuck, almost like our coalition. It was that our guys were like, okay, well, you invaded us. We're all ready to go. We've got all of our stuff. Let's do this. And then they just wilted and failed after 3 or 4 days. So when I get back from FanFest, my guys are like, we're all fired up and ready to go. Can we go kill these guys? Because this is ridiculous. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I can't actually put the brakes on my guys when we're all ready to fight. They were going to invade us. And so this time, unlike the last 3 or 4 times they tried to go at Fountain, we're just like, look, let's screw it. We're just going to torch Delve. And if we can't give it to Brave Newbies, because apparently they won't take the best region in the game, hand it to them on a fucking platter with no strings attached, we'll give it to Pizza and some random guys named Eon or whatever the fuck they are. Like, here, just have it. So, we hit, apparently there was a lot of interest and controversy because we rolled into ZXB and just they reinforced their own staging system to try to do something or other and set up the world's most obvious Australian time zone trap, because they had it set for Euro time, reinforced it themselves, and then the next timer was suddenly 2 hours before downtime. Like, I totally can't see a supercap trap coming. But also,
BL's been trying to do the whole time or downtime supercap fight against us for about a year now, and it has been successful. I think once where they killed a few dreads, and that's it. But I mean, they haven't actually killed any supers. I think with their traps.
Well, that's not going to happen. Like, we're not going to deploy our supers in AU time zone for some random ass timer that's obviously trapped. But anyway, the thing was ridiculous because there's lots of howling about this because we hit their staging system, and I never do headshots. Headshots, you do not begin a campaign with a headshot. That's like rule number 1, which apparently a lot of people have always forgotten and screwed up. So hit ZXB, people flipped out, backed off, and went through the moon purge, because that's how you actually do a campaign, is you destroy their assets so they have no income. It demoralizes people. They go into failure cascade. And we're going through a 2-day rampage this weekend now, just blowing up 45 or more towers and handing them to Pizza and Eon or whoever the fuck they are. Yeah. Have some R64s. And
everyone in the CFC everyone in CFC, it's been a while since we had it's been since Halloween War since we had a real war. So everyone was kind of eager to get into a war, and there hasn't really been any fighting. I think we had 3 or 4 fights so far in a 2.5 week period. And I came back from FanFest. I FC'd 2 days in a row. The biggest one was the fight we had on the Friday night where we killed 44 bill and lost I think 2.5 bill. And so that was a thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there was a 44 to 3 billion ISK fight.
Yeah, 44 to 3 bill ISK fight. That was the Friday after I got back from FanFest. And then I think we also had another fight in D4KU that was a little more balanced, where I think each side killed about 30 battleships. But other than that, there's been no big fights in this war so far. And I guess, ZXB final time, they had a little bit of a slugfest. And the capitals died on each side, Dreadnaughts. But it's been actually a really, really boring war, in my opinion.
Well, I'm sure that they're going to come over the top and try to trap us again in a completely subtle way that we won't see coming.
Oh, of course.
In the next day or two. I mean, of course, we might get BR5'd ourselves, but the whole thing about this is we did not want to take Delve. I did not want to do this war. I wanted to focus on lining up this crazy Providence thing that I think is going to be really funny, because I met the true Omar Emperor, Maximilian Singularity the Sixth, first of his name.
So exciting.
And what I really want to do is when Fozisov is implemented, I genuinely want to take Maximilian Singularity the Sixth, first of his name, and put him on the throne of Omar, because I want to take Goonswarm in a role-playing direction. And also, the dude just owns. If you met him at FanFest, you see the pictures. He's just genuinely a really awesome, cool old dude. He's not a lame cosplayer guy. He's a funny, smart as fuck dude. Yeah. He's just great.
We can't get too deep into that because we have flowcharts to talk about.
We do.
Oh, flowcharts!
Yes.
Sorry. So we've kind of held the Delve thing. Let's get to the flowcharts.
So speaking of, oh yes, we're doing the flowcharts. Okay, never mind.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
So Laz is gonna. So apparently in the aftermath of the socked nonsense, this is looks like it's the top most upvoted thing on the Brave Newbies Reddit at the moment.
It's up on stream now. Is the new flowchart that I believe came out of the latest move they've done.
Yeah, so they have suggested one of their line members, and they've gotten a lot of upvotes on this, is that this is a flowchart that will help them avoid. Let's leave it up there a bit last.
It's up there.
Okay, awesome. So apparently this is how you run an alliance, and this is going to be an improvement. This is going to save things and help them avoid moving staging systems 2 or 3 times in 20 minutes, and then a week later is something involving CEO making decisions, department heads being informed, department. I don't even know what a department head is. Departments. I guess they have departments. We don't have departments. Maybe we should do that.
Well, we do have departments, but they all report to a single head.
I think they're called teams. Prerequisite actions taken by logistics and recon. Tell line members what to do, and then all this other stuff. So Scion, we were talking about this in Javelin 5 today when this flowchart came out, and apparently people really think that running an alliance with a flowchart is a good way to do it. So we are, again, we have no pride. We try to steal best practices from wherever we can. And they
hold
clearly
on,
the flowchart.
Hold on, the spin zone right here.
Spin zone. All right.
So, and then we can segue into this.
Spin zone.
This is the best thing.
So Scion, who is my chief of staff and is on the CSM this year, has decided that we need a flowchart to accurately reflect a reformed organization in Goonswarm and the CFC. And so once we get out of spin zone. Yeah, and we'll put it on the other side of the spin zone so you can compare these two flowcharts.
Yeah, we have to compare the charts. The comparison's really
side
important.
by side.
Just so you guys really understand how seriously.
Yeah, no, this is flowcharts are really just the way to run an organization and an alliance in EVE Online. So there you go. You can see it up on the stream now. I really think that it's going to help. I think it's going to help us really get to the next level of organization. This is really just kind of the. This is the new Goonswarm right here. This is how we're gonna.
Along with installing Amar Emperors, we are going
with installing the new Emperor of Amar.
We're going to use amazing flowcharts.
Yes, I think it's the way forward. So we have got only 7 minutes left if we're doing an hour-long show, which means that we can briefly touch on the changes with CCP if we want to, or we can just take Q&As. And mostly people are talking about soft stuff.
If we want, we can just mention that iHub changes and Tosis links, mineral things, and ship skins are on CC now. And that as of the 07 show airing date, which was April 1st, I believe. And then that all this stuff will be happening at the end of April with the release.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to talk about with the actual 07 show was the Entosis link stats are actually now public.
Yep.
And I will post those into chat for everyone to see.
They're pretty good.
A short TLDR of the T1 versus T2 stats, or do we want to just leave that in the link for people to look at?
Yeah, I think we can run down it real quick.
Okay, so T1 is Infomorph Psychology 1 is required, 250,000 mass when online, 5-minute cycle time, 25 kilometer range, 10 power grid, 1 CPU, 50 cap per cycle, and consumes 1 stront per cycle. So stronting is, you need stront in order to run these. The Tech 2, Infomorph Psychology 4 is required, 1 million mass while online, 2-minute cycle time, I thought I wrote million, 250 kilometer range, 100 power grid, 10 CPU, 500 cap per cycle, and still only 1 stront per cycle. So those are the stats, bare bones stats. I don't know if you want to mention anything about either of them, or.
No, I think really it's still too early for speculation because those stats can all change. Everything here can change, and I think people just need to dig into it and go onto CC and play around with it and kind of find. I'm sure everyone's already been on CC and trying to find the most broken ship to fit it on that can kind of avoid engaging.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, my attitude towards it is, I mean, the thing that I really like to see here is that CCP is actually taking feedback into account. Like they are adding stront to and a mass adjustment to the Entosis link, so it like minimizes the troll scepter thing. But again, we're going to have to get on CC and test, so we'll see.
And those were suggestions, like in a thread. Those two changes
and people
were
listen to
suggestions. Yeah.
And they changed the iHub stuff too. So iHubs are going to have a smaller mass, and they'll be able to manufacture upgrades locally, which is something that most players don't care about. But it's a big deal for the logistics guys who actually provide all the content for us.
We love Logi Bros.
Exactly.
Well, and then they also talk about the mineral changes, which there's already been speculation on the market, and they actually posted the mineral spikes and stuff like that of what's happening in JITA as soon as those changes were announced. But other than, I think the real big thing is they are trying to localize a lot of production in nullsec to where they're not shipping as much from JITA into 0.0 and just making everything localized and all together, and where you can build your little space empire.
let's go ahead and start taking some Q&As. I think we're just sort of briefly touching on the soft stuff, and I think we're going to see it changing. We had a lot of interesting nullsec action, but let's go ahead and start taking some Q&As from people in chat. And then we can move to the giveaways.
I think we can actually do them both at the same time, because if we just have it set to anyone who talks in chat gets entered.
We absolutely can. So I'll have the roll up. These are going to be for non-subs. We'll do all the non-subs like bang, bang, bang right in a row. And we've got 4 of